Algebra 2. Today we're going to do lesson 10-2, quadratic functions. So if you have the quadratic function, which most of them are going to be labeled as that, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. That is how you're always going to see quadratic functions. This is a general function formula. Okay, very, very important. You're going to see this time and time again, especially when we start completing the square. We start doing the quadratic formula, all that good stuff. So that is how you would write a quadratic function. That's the standard way of writing a quadratic function. So remember yesterday, your vertex was your maximum or minimum point. So when you had your parabola, this would have been your vertex. Okay, that would have been your vertex on that parabola. It's your maximum or lowest point or minimum point. Okay, vertex is labeled HK as an ordered pair. Okay, that is what an ordered pair is labeled for the vertex. So to find your vertex, an easy way to find the vertex is formulas. I have two formulas here. And everybody likes working with formulas because you just plug in and then just simplify. H equals negative b over 2a. Well, where does the b and the a come from? Look up here at your standard formula. Your a is always in front of x squared. Your b is always in front of x. C is your constant. Those are the numbers that we use. So if I'm looking at this equation right here, the first thing I'm going to do, which I want you guys to do on all of these, is label. Your a is 2. B is 3, and C is negative 4. Make sure you're keeping that sign with it. A is 2, B is 3, C is negative 4. So now let's plug in. H equals negative B, so negative 3, all over 2 times 2. Simplify. Your H is negative 3/4. Okay, so now we know what H is. Let's find our K. K equals C minus A, which is 2. H, we just found, squared. Okay, excuse me. Order of operations says that I need to do parentheses exponents first. So we're going to have negative 4 minus 2. I'm going to square that. When you square a negative number, so when we're squaring our negative number, what happens to it? It becomes positive. So when we're squaring a negative number, keep in mind that that's going to become positive. So negative 3/4 is going to become a positive 9/16. Again, when you square a negative number, it becomes a positive. So when I square that, it becomes a positive 9/16. Okay, so that's negative 4. 2 goes into 16 8 times, so negative 9/8. Okay, right, because that negative comes on through. In order for me to add fractions or subtract fractions, what do we have to have? Common denominator. So I need to multiply this by 8 over 8. Common denominator. So now you've got negative 32/8 minus 9/8. Well, what's negative 32 minus 9? Negative 41/8. That's your K. So that means my vertex is at negative 3/4, negative 41/8. Your axis of symmetry is just x equals h. Okay, so my axis of symmetry would just be x equals negative 3/4. Okay, so that is how you use just the vertex formula to solve. So let's look at this one here. Let's do another example. Okay, one more example. So again, label. your A, B, C. Okay? So this one here, your A is negative 1/2. B is 2. C is 1. Okay? A, B, C. Remember, H is negative B over 2A. So we take negative 2 over 2 times negative 1/2. So up top I've got negative 2. 2 times negative 1/2 is negative 1. So that means that my H is 2. So now find your K. K equals C minus AH squared. C is 1. A, again, is negative 1/2. And notice I put parentheses around it. Put parentheses around it because of that negative. H is 2. My order of operations, the only thing being squared is just that 2. So I'm going to have 1. 2 negatives equal a positive. 1/2 times 4, because I squared that 2. What's 1/2 of 4? 2. 1 plus 2 is 3. My K is 3. So my vertex is going to be at 2, 3. My axis of symmetry, x equals h. There's my axis of symmetry. So a lot of these, that's what it's going to want. Your vertex and then your axis of symmetry. And what that means. So if I'm looking at this graph, my vertex would be over 2, up 3. That is going to be its maximum point because it is negative. My axis of symmetry is at 2. So I'm just going to draw a little picture of what it could look like here. The axis of symmetry is this line coming down at x equals 2. Because if I were to fold that in half, I would map the sides together. This is my vertex, which is at 2, 3. That makes this a maximum. So if I'm looking at this example that I did over here, where this was positive, well, that would mean that this right here is going to be my minimum, my lowest point, because my parabola is going to look something like that, essentially. Okay, so that is quadratic functions. Okay, and I know because it's something you haven't seen before, just keep in mind, bear in mind, just use the formulas and plug in and watch your orders of operations. Okay, that is key, is watching those order of operations. Okay, so that is lesson 10-2, the introduction of quadratic functions.